Welcome back, Short Kings. It looks like 1 month notice for games leaving PS Plus Extra is truly a thing of the past. Last month, Lost Judgment was announced to leave with 10 days notice. And just last week, The Evil Within was removed with 4 hours of notice. This wasn't even in the last chance to play section. No blog, no announcement, just quietly removed. So just like last month, they've decided to remove even more games than initially announced. Sony's official announcement with a proper 1 month notice had 12 games leaving. Now, September 4th, with only 2 weeks notice, 4 more games are getting removed. And good games too. Unpacking, 13 Sentinels, and Planet Coaster, all games in the mid-80s. This is on top of the games that are already leaving that were announced officially at the right time. The big one, if you hadn't heard already, is Horizon Forbidden West. Everyone assumed that first-party Sony titles were safe, but as we saw from Spider-Man leaving last year, this is not the case. So if you haven't played Horizon yet, but were planning on it, you're out of luck because that is a long open world game. It's one of the most beautiful games graphically on the PlayStation 5, and I would normally say download it just to try it, but it's a pretty big game and it won't go on sale as much as some of the others on this list. The other big ones are Marvel's Midnight Suns. I tried it, I didn't know what to expect with this one, heard lots of good things, but once I started playing it, it just wasn't for me. I love Marvel lore and everything, but this wasn't the gameplay I was expecting, and certain parts seemed quite a bit dated. For me personally, this could have been a mobile game. Next was Nier Replicant. Heard amazing things too here. I gave it about an hour and it was a bit too old looking for my taste. Don't get me wrong, you got great gameplay and combat and the story is great, but it just didn't hook me. And that's the beauty of the PlayStation Plus Extra. You don't have to beat the games. Just try it, and if it clicks with you, then stick with it. Which brings us to Alien Isolation. The third game I tried from the leaving soon list is Alien Isolation. I tried about an hour of it and boy am I hooked. This is not only one of the best horror games I've played, but also probably the best stealth game I've played in a very long time. 3D headphones are a must because hearing the difference between footsteps right beside you in the same room and footsteps in the vent will help a lot. After playing a few hours, I was like, alright, let's go watch the original movie to get reacquainted with everything. I was tempted to do a full review on this one, but I'll sneak it in here. This game takes place in between the first 2 Alien movies. So if you've seen them, this is a treat. If you haven't seen them, it's a bigger treat because everything will be a surprise. And then you can go and watch the movies and point at the TV like, hey, I've been there. Hey, I've used that thing. Hey, the computer hacking thing is similar to what I did. People always say watch the movie and then play the game, but I prefer the other way. Ever since GoldenEye on the N64, playing the game before the movie has an extra layer of magic to it. Because when the actor walks through a room you're familiar with, you're aware of what they missed. Oh, there's a special thing behind that desk. That's where I had this encounter. That computer has this information on it. Anyways, if you haven't seen the Alien movies, jump into this game because spooky season is around the corner and this year's theme is aliens. It takes about 20 hours or so if you can commit about 2 hours a day, you should be good. But enough about Alien, let's move on. Okay, since we're on the topic of recommending games, if you were to play one game from this huge, now 16 games list, and you don't have 2 hours a day for 2 weeks to commit, I'd recommend Unpacking. I've talked about this game before. It only takes 4 hours total and it's such a unique game. It is the only true short game on the list and the only one I should be recommending to you because this is a short games channel after all. But there are a lot of great games that I think you should try if you haven't had the chance to. Sadly, they are too long to beat in the time given. So the good news is if you're interested in the short games, this won't affect you as much. So let's move on to the longer games. I heard 13 Sentinels is an amazing game, but I have already committed to Alien Isolation and I don't think I'll have another 40 hours to spare in the next 2 weeks. So, boo Sony. Everyone, boo Sony in the comments. Too many games, not enough time to play. And too short of an announcement. We thought last month was a one-off. How dare they announce a long game like Lost Judgment is leaving with only 10 days. And here we are, they're repeating their mistake. Anyways, a few of you were grateful you stumbled upon my last video because you weren't aware that it was leaving. So now I've committed to making a video every time they do these sneaky, unannounced removal of games. Remember to always check the last chance to play section. That's where all the games will be listed, so you don't need to watch my videos every time, and you can just do a quick check. But as we've learned, check it once every 2 weeks because we never know until someone tells us. And thank you for sticking around and having me be the one to tell you the bad news. So once again, boo, Sony. They're really on a streak of making bad decisions this month. I think it's a trend, actually. Last September is around the time when they announced the price increase, and then followed it up with giving us the worst months ever. And now, between the last-minute removals and the great success of Concord, they're really having a bad time. I'd just like to point out this comment of mine from the State of Play video. I wasn't the only one to predict Concord's downfall, but I never knew it'd be this bad. Like, they are actually going to return people's money. Anyway, so if you like this video, boo Sony in the comments. Until next time, be a friend, and I'll see you again.